Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to Sasquatch Speaks. This is Sasquatch, otherwise known as Gavisas. And today's topic, well, as always, let me start with a little bit of a story. There are a group of people that I'm acquainted with who have a group of young daughters. And, I mean, like, really young, like they're like 12 and 13 years old. So don't go, oh, you're trying to find the next future Mr. Sasquatch? No, I'm not doing that. But they have this group of young daughters, and they were just recently caught planning and, actively carrying out their pre-planning to be, or how they chose to lose weight. Now, the reason I say they were caught in this, not they were like, this is what they're doing, this is their plan, this is their purpose. I say that they were caught in this because their found method of doing so was to intentionally carry out or participate in anorexia, which is completely not eating anything at all, and bulimia. And they were kind of checking out to see who's more effective in terms of, losing weight. And that's wrong in and of itself, but the girls who are doing this are, like I said, they're 12 and 13 years old, and none of them are in any way, shape, or form large. Most of them, to look at them normally before all this, you would have considered them to be petite or underweight in most cases. And it's like, well, and they're trying to do this more using extreme methods. And it's like, it kind of opened up to me like a broader, I mean, obviously that's wrong and that needs to be taken care of and addressed, and rightfully so. But it opened up like a broader idea to me that, let me kind of tell you the other side of the story. I mean, I'm a big guy, and but I shouldn't be as big as I am, so to speak. I'm a little overweight, and I've been trying to get that worked off. And my method for doing that, I mean, you look at me and you can say, okay, he could probably shed a few pounds here and there, especially around like the chin and the gut. Everywhere else is pretty, okay, but whenever I gain weight, I gain it like I have like an instant double chin as soon as I gain weight, and I've got a little bit of area to work on around my gut, and that's like, okay, so I'll do some crunches, do some sit-ups, and push-ups in the whole 9 yards to make it balanced and get in generally better condition than I am. But as I was looking at this, because I mean, like right now, this is what I'm doing, and I've actually had some good success with it. I mean, I haven't really lost any weight. I've actually gained some, but that's muscle. And so it looks better to have weight through muscle than fat and all kind of fun stuff like that. And I found it interesting that the go-to methods for losing weight or just getting in better health are so vastly different. I mean, just like the instinctual thing that happens when it's like, okay, well, too much weight, whether it's actually too much weight or not, that the instinctual thing for men and women is so different. And what I mean is, like I said, I looked at myself and I said, okay, what I'm seeing in the mirror is not what I want. What is not how I know I should look. I mean, I understand it. It's like, hey, I'm a pretty, my business that I run is not particularly strenuous thing to do. I mean, sometimes you're carrying a lot of paperwork around, but that's about the high end of it. It's not very strenuous. There's a lot of time spent sitting, which is not good for you. And YouTube, and then which is not paying me anything yet. I'll throw in the caveat of yet, that eventually, maybe I can get a big enough following that it would make sense to monetize my channel, right? They pay you just real quick aside, through YouTube. They pay you like as I've heard. I could be wrong. I've heard that they pay you a certain set dollar amount for every 1,000 views. And so I looked on my analytics, and I do this quite regularly, usually at least once a day, because I worry about that kind of thing. I want to see how people are engaging with my videos. And I looked on there, and it said for the last 30 days, I've had 442 views as of this morning or something like that. And I'm like, okay, well, that means I still have to get 558 views more in the next 30 days to let me to kind of justify, okay, well, within a 1 month span, I got 1,000 views. That was kind of my goal right now for people who are wondering, or even if you're not, it's out there. That's kind of my goal. Get 1,000 views so that every month I can say, okay, I made something. Probably not a whole lot, probably not even $1, but I'll have made something. And again, just kind of one of those weird things. And I understand that technically I could have been doing it all along, but I've only capped 1,000 views twice. I think I have like 2,260 some odd views, something like that. I don't know. I'm sure someone out there doesn't care. Anyway, that's not really the point. But I mean, like sitting here doing the recording video, doing gameplay, whatever it is that I'm doing, it's not very strenuous. So it's something that I actively have to plan for and then carry out in order to, lose weight, get in better shape, all the sort of good stuff. And like I said, my instinctual thing is, okay, I'm not where I want to be. How I am going to remedy the situation is I'm going to go out and actively work for it. I'm going to put in effort and time and sweat, a lot of sweat, because I'm a really warm-blooded person. It's weird. I run cold, but I exude heat. My natural body temperature is about 96.3, which if you know anything about, like hypothermia and things like that, I'm about a degree away at all times from having constant hypothermia. However, I have such good heating. Like I said, I run cold, but my natural heating ability is so good that in wintertime I run around without any coat on because I'm hot if I put a coat on. And last winter was like really cold for everyone else, not for me. I was like, hey, this is pretty comfortable. I like this. I can breathe. The air is so clean and clear and crisp and beautiful. But again, I'm getting off topic on tangents and stuff like that. But it's kind of a weird thing, I run hotter than most. Well, I run colder, but I give off more heat. I mean, to the point where if I sit in a closed room for a certain period of time, the temperature of that room will raise in accordance with my body temperature. And you will walk out, and the rest of the room, and the rest of the house, or whatever sort of place I'm in, will actually be cooler than the room that I'm in. And I know this because my room is the hottest room in the house. You go in my room, and it's immediately it raises 5 to 10 degrees just because I'm in there. Anyway, again, all sorts of tangents and things that don't matter and are not at all related to this topic. But like I said, when I go to work out, that's it. I go to work out. I exercise. I don't just want to, sure, I could stop eating, and medically they say you can stop eating anything for like 40 plus days, depending on your metabolism and your body and fat stores and everything else. You can stop eating for about 40 days, no problem. I've heard some people have gone up as much as like 50 or 60, even 70 days, and have come back without any long-term health effects or negative health effects from just not eating for that duration of time. I mean, obviously you have to like drink water and stuff like that so you stay hydrated. Maybe some electrolytes or something so you don't toxify your body with water. But generally, you can just stop eating, and it's okay. Not that you should, and not that I will, but it's something that if I was like really desperate, and I just want to get rid of weight without really caring about where that weight came from, then I could do that. But I don't. When I want to improve my body, when I want to improve how I look, my instinct is to not just get rid of negative weight, but to replace it with good weight that will help keep the bad weight off. And they've done studies on this all over the place, on the internet and periodicals and magazines. Muscle burns fat. That's just the way it is. And when people say, well, I'm just going to lose weight, so I'm going to go on this diet, or I'm not going to eat, or something like that, my mental impression of that person tends to take several steps down. Because it's like, okay, well, you're not doing this the most effective way that you can. Yes, like I said, I started working out, and I immediately gained about 10 pounds. Just immediately, because I was working again, and my muscles were like, okay, well, we got to like put him to overdrive so that we can keep up with what he's doing. And it's weird, whenever I work out, I like automatically swell like 3 inches all over the place. It's not like swell up like with like water, but I get kind of a juiced effect, and so like a shirt that was fitting me before I worked out doesn't quite fit me as well after. I mean, like, because I have really broad shoulders. They're like not bragging or anything, but they're about 50 inches. Or I take a 50-inch suit when I go to buy a suit. So it's like in order to just have like normal movement without in being in danger of ripping the back out of something, I have some pretty broad shoulders. More than the broader shoulders than the average. How about putting it that way? So, but when I work out, they get even broader just because like your muscles were working and there's more blood pumped into them, and so they swelled up a little bit, and then the overall effect is noticeable to a degree that other people are like, dude, did you just work out? I'm like, yeah, I did. And I go, well, okay, just stand a little bit farther away because you're exuding just massive amounts of heat and I can't be near you anymore. But, things happen like that. But I find it interesting because, I mean, it's not just me. A lot of guys, when they go to get in better shape or work out, or I keep using those words because that's what we do. Most guys, I understand there's some weird people who don't do this, but most guys, when they want to better their bodies, they work out, they exercise, they say, okay, well, I'm not just going to get rid of fat, but I'm also going to gain muscle. And I find it interesting that this concept is not conveyed to women as well. And I understand there are women who do this. I mean, who have incredibly strong bodies. A good example is Iviana, my friend from the Triple Cart podcast. She's doing her own streams and stuff now. I may put a link in the description to that if I remember. If not, I'm sorry. But she is an incredibly strong woman. I've never met her before in my life, but just listening to some of the stuff that she has done and is capable of doing through her years of consistent working out and exercise, I am not particularly certain that I could win in a fight against her. She's just that in shape, that good at what she does. And so it's a strange disconnect for me that there are apparently some women who figured out, okay, well, if I want to be in better shape, then I would need to, work out. But still the majority of them don't. And don't have that concept that, well, hey, I should, I want to lose weight, and they immediately go into, well, I'm going to diet. And the statistics have gone, when people go into specialty diets or anything like that, they have to do them for the rest of their life. Otherwise, when they come off of them, they will gain back all of that weight that they took off. And it's not even like really good weight that they could take off. It's they take off some of the fat, yes, but they also take away muscle mass, which is a really bad thing to lose. Just because their body's like starving and starts basically eating itself, because there's not enough sufficient nutrition to come in. So like those things aren't sustainable. They tell you don't stay on this for too long a time because your body can't keep up with it. But if you do go off of it, all that weight that you just lost will come back, and it will come back as pure fat because you're not doing anything to build muscle. And it's just like, oh, why? Why do people get this? Why? I mean, I'm saying people, but I'm really addressing this to women, and I know I probably don't have any female viewers except maybe Ivy, who's like already, if I meet someone in a dark alley, I hope she's next to me to kick their butt. But it's so strange. I just can't get that concept in my mind. Like I said, specifically these girls who I am familiar with, they're They're very young, so they have natural stores of energy that they could be drawing upon. They're already fairly thin, so moving around shouldn't be any great taxation upon them. I mean, like I said, if you're really fat, and I have been really fat before, I'm not any. Like I said, I'm overweight, but I'm not fat. I promised myself I would never get to that point again. Like, no matter if I had to kill myself to not do that, I would not become that ever again. But I've been there, and when you are really fat, you cannot move. It's like the very thought of it wins you. It's like, oh man, I should do some push-ups. Oh, I think I'm going to have a heart attack just because I thought about doing push-ups. It literally gets that bad. And if you're not that, don't get that way. Do anything if you see yourself starting to head in that direction, turn around and come back. Come back to the light. You don't want to be there. It's not good for you. We know it's not good for us, but it's just one of the worst situations you can find yourself in as a human being. And I'm convinced of that, having been there, and come back from it and found the benefits of being of a more regulated size. Like I said, right now I'm overweight, but I had kind of an excuse for that because I was at a point where I could not work out for 2.5 years. Doing any sort of physical exercise would win me. I mean, I had to do 10 push-ups, and my heart would be beating so fast, it was like I was about to have a coronary right there, and all my extremities were shaking and things like that. I could not work out, which is how I got to this point where I am right now. But like I said, I'm trying to get out of it. I'm trying to better myself. I'm trying to get in better shape. And like I said, I could just stop eating for 40, 50, 60 days. It is possible for the human body to not have food for that long. But it's not supposed to work that way. And the broader subject here is, okay, yes, there's apparently a different approach, but why is there a different approach? Why is it that women, when they say, oh, I want to lose weight, they immediately start looking through the diet books and okay, well, what can I not eat anymore? Or what does my body absolutely not require for me to take in so that I can drop these pounds? And I really think the point that was the level that we've descended to at this point, I hesitate to say as a society, but at least as a group of people of like-minded sensibilities, which is basically a society. But we're not going to go there. Basically, the point we've come to is that women in general, like I said, there are exceptions. Ivy, please do not hurt me ever, because I'm quite certain I would cry. Well, maybe not. A little bit of testosterone just came out right there. I'm so sorry. But we've decided that women are allowed to be weak. And not even just allowed to be weak, it is actually desirous for them to be portrayed as that. I mean, I hesitate to go back. Well, I don't really hesitate. I'm going back to this group of girls. A stiff breeze is going to knock them over. They have no strength at all. Like I said, they're 12 and 13 years old, and they were thin to begin with, and then they starved themselves for weeks on end, and then they eat a little bit so they didn't die, and then they would starve themselves again for more weeks, and like I said, they got caught, thankfully, because just you will kill yourself doing this. You will kill yourself even attempting something like that. Well, as long as you do it for a longer period of time. Like I said, you can do that. You will not die from just doing it once. But the repeated thing, just starving, eat 1 or 2 bites, starving, eat 1 or 2 bites, it will do incredibly bad things to you. And like I said, it has done bad things to them. Now, thankfully, it's something that can probably be reversed if they're willing to put forth the effort. But I find it so interesting that it's not just this group of girls. Before there was another girl who was actually sent to a rehab center because it was so bad that I knew. And I mean, she just if you touched her the wrong way, you would break her bones. She was that malnourished. And I find it strange that it's become okay for women to be weak. I don't mean that like, oh, the weak woman, but I mean to do things that are so detrimental to their own bodies that they weaken themselves to such a point that they cannot even function normally in regular society. They have descended so far into this, well, must be thin, 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 that I understand there's kind of that module thing. Oh yeah, I like to carry around the big heavy stuff for all the girls get to feel all big and strong, stuff like that, and that's okay. But if it's being nice, that's one thing. If it's like, okay, well, I like this girl or something, so I want to try and impress her, or she's just a nice person, I'm trying to be chivalrous, I'm going to carry her load, or elderly ladies, whatever. But when it comes to the point where women who would normally be, fully capable of doing this themselves have degraded their own bodies to such a point that they are physically incapable of doing so, there is a serious problem. And there's all this talk in the media about the positive body image and stuff like that. And I've seen it go both ways. I've seen people who are like, yeah, okay, you really need to stop with what you're doing, because the constant dieting and the constant starvation and everything else like that, you will kill yourself. And that's bad. But I've also seen people try and swing the pendulum all the way back the other way and be like, well, if you're not 30 pounds overweight and you're not like huffing for breath every time you go up and down a thing of stairs, well, then you're one of those skinny model type people, and you need to just like pick up a drumstick and clog your arteries or something like that. And it's so frustrating to me that people can't figure out there's a middle ground, and it's really the easiest place to be. And well, it's not the easiest place to be. The thing is, no one likes the middle ground. Nobody likes the middle ground. And you know why? No one, at least in terms of, well, generally, across the entire board, nobody likes the middle ground. Blanket statement. I will say it. You can fight me on it. But I have not a lot, but I have a little bit of experience to say that generally nobody likes the middle ground. And the reason nobody likes the middle ground is because it's so hard to maintain. Well, and it's not even really hard to maintain. It just requires, effort. Not a lot. Just a little bit. Like I said, I am not particularly where I would like to be. But how I'm going to maintain, eating healthily and still losing, or eating to like maintain life, and, because I like meat, a lot of meat, and I know that's not particularly the healthiest thing for you to eat all the time, but it's what I like, and so I'm willing to put forth the effort to keep what I like. The effort that is required is actual effort, working out, exercise. It improves, and it's good then because that I like meat, because that's protein, helps build the muscles and keep everything in balance. Great, that works. But to just say, you know what, well, I'm either going to be super, super skinny and not eat anything at all ever, and I'll become weak and decrepit and basically just kill myself through my own lack of sustenance of my own body, or swing the pendulum all the way the other way and be like, well, you can't just be a little stick figure, so we're gonna eat a whole turkey a piece every night and shovel down the pasta and not move. In both cases, you're weak. You're a weak person. It's just a matter of how you are a weak person. Whether it's because you're not eating anything and you have no strength, or it's because you are eating everything and have no energy left. All the energy was consumed in filling your face. In either case, it's a bad situation. But I can't understand why there's always this disconnect that food is either the enemy or the ultimate friend, when really all that's required to be healthy is, well, not all, but most of what is being required to be healthy is activity, action, moving, exertion, however you want to put it. The key, and this is my opinion, But I have, like I said, I was incredibly overweight, and I didn't want to move at all. But I decided that, I didn't want to be that way anymore, so I started working out. I made myself get up off the couch and start doing push-ups. At the time, that was all I could do, and I started doing like the wimpiest, cheesy knee push-ups, inclined, uphill, so like I was only pushing up like 10% of my body weight from my knees, and I started doing that every single day, and I worked myself pretty hard for about 2 years until I got to something like, okay, well, this is okay. I don't hate myself anymore. And it's like, okay, I like this. Like I said, I fell out of it because of illness, but now that I'm better, I'm bringing that back in, and I'm seeing results. Like I said, first thing that happened was I gained about 10 pounds, but that's how that works. The muscles are being energized. They're receiving blood. They're like, okay, it's time to grow again and get rid of all this fat which is encasing us. Let's do it. Yes, we like this. More of this, less of the sitting around and doing nothing. And that's it. The more you do it, the easier it is to be. Like I said, it's not hard to maintain. It's difficult to begin. Especially, like I said, if you're on one side or the other. If you're a little stick figure and you haven't eaten in 30 days, and the last time you ate before that was just this one little tiny plate of salad greens, and then you didn't eat for another 30 days before that, you ain't doing a whole lot of anything. You're kind of standing there, but you're being buffeted by the breeze and kind of swaying back and forth, trying not to fall down. And if you go the other end and you ate 16 pounds of food yesterday and you have a plan to do it again today, you're kind of weighed down by your options, and you're not moving anywhere because you literally cannot. You're stuck there. But there's a middle ground. And the middle ground is just eat something, please. Eat something. I'll cook for you. I'm pretty good on the grill. I will cook for you. I don't care. Just and it's like I said, it's not. This isn't meant to be indicting anybody. It's not like I'm saying, oh, look at all these terrible bad people that are just ruining themselves and setting a bad example. I'm just saying, why can't society as a whole just kind of meet in the middle? I could probably eat better. You know what? I could probably do that. But I am turned off from that because of the extremes that people have taken it. And I'm like, man, they don't even look like they're having fun anymore. They're just like, oh yeah, I had my little salad greens and my little peas and stuff, and I had this little tiny cup of soup that I had like 3 days ago, and I'm having such healthy stuff, and it's just wonderful and glorious, and I can't imagine why you would want to have that big gigantic steak with all the seasoning on it, and the baked potato on the side. And I'm like, because it tastes good. It tastes really, really, really good. Get that charcoal flavor up in there, and you season it just right, and it gets up in the nostrils, and you slice into it, and it's juicy, and it's wonderful, and just the natural juices of the meat, you slice into it, and they just run all over the plate. That is my, just don't call me for 3 hours because I am busy. But, like I said, I'm tired. I don't mean to keep rehammering this point, but there has to be a balance. There has to be a place where it's like, okay, we're going, and I understand there are people who take the exercise and the workout thing too far, and that's not good for you either. It's better for you than the other two things, but, in this trifecta of bad things, I would rather skew more towards working out rather than not eating or eating way too much. And it's like, okay, just find that middle ground, find that balance. And I'm not saying this to preach to people who are watching this, anyone who's still watching this, but again, it's kind of the societal thing. I don't understand why we have this disconnect of men or. There's the instinctual thing. Like I said, I'm a male. I decided I want to do better, so I'm going to work out. Why is it that women, when they go, okay, well, I don't like what I'm seeing anymore, they start, just not eating anything at all and actually compound the problem rather than fix it? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. That was a really long-winded road to get there, but, it's me. That's what I do, right? Yeah. Anyway, I hope you all have enjoyed. If you did enjoy, a like rating down below would be very much appreciated. If not, please leave a dislike rating on a nasty comment telling me to stop worrying about women and just try and, let's not go into that. Future Mrs. Sasquatch. Or the next future Mrs. Sasquatch. Anyway, hope you all did enjoy. I will see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.